Peace, family. Sister Victoria X here. Um, and I want to go ahead and continue our reading inside of Real Love by Ava Muhammad. And It's just been a really, really good run, you guys, and I'm so excited. This book has revealed so many things, and I think it's so beautiful. And this chapter, I think it's tailor made for a lot of us because I think that sometimes as women we do have this thought. I saw them, Sister Carletta. So it just like always. If you guys have not read chapters 1 through 8, or you were not here with us when we read chapters 1 through 8. You can find that on my YouTube. If you click the link in my bio, scroll all the way down to the bottom and click the YouTube icon, you'll be able to click that and go to the playlist and where it says read alongs, and you'll be able to find where we read chapters 1 through 8 inside of on my YouTube. Also, we're currently on chapter 9, which as you see is children power base of the Black woman. And I like to just read through the text first because I know that some people do enjoy just listening to the text without intermixed commentary. So that's what I like to do. I'm going to go ahead and read the text first. Spoken reasons. Peace, fam. Thank you for tuning in, Asia. I like to read through the book first so that those that are just here to hear me read can get what they need and dip. And then we'll have our commentary at the very end. And then share this live out to a few people that you think will find value in there. And I know y'all sisters in here, y'all know how we be talking in confidence. So share that with your sister that has said something that might be contrary to what we might read tonight. And of course, support your sis Cash App at the bottom. So now we're going to go ahead and get into reading. Chapter 9, Children, Power Base of the Black Woman. Your children are not your burden. They are your power base. Like the Black man has been tricked into avoiding marriage, you have been tricked into avoiding motherhood. By motherhood, I don't mean having babies. I mean teaching and nurturing divine beings. You have been misled into thinking and stressed into feeling that your children, a time consuming and demanding task, cramps your style. So you have given them to someone else. I have to work. We need money. True, absolutely true. But in exchange for a little money, which barely meets your requirements, you have given up the very base of your power. The children of this millennium are a whole new species. They are pure royalty, the privileged and the elect. The door to their subconscious mind is already open. They are not slaves. They are born with the impulse to probe the inner self. They reject the disbeliefs of this world, the disbeliefs this world tries to impose upon them. They are here to create their own belief system. If we are going advance, we must teach and learn from our children. It is a mistake and an exercise in futility to try and force our way of thinking on them, to limit their vision with our narrow perspective of what is possible and what is not. Our limited minds make them despise us because we place a ceiling on their dreams and ambitions. We try to force them into religious, educational, economic, and political systems that are already obsolete. Children born now come here with expanded powers, which will wither and die like the limbs of someone paralyzed if their mothers do not inspire and encourage them. Unlike you and I, these children have no idea that anything is impossible. Allah God destroyed impossible when he created himself from the darkness of space. They are born to lead us beyond the limits of what we think we can do. They are born to bring in a new heaven and new earth. While recent generations have found psychic abilities rare, exciting, and useful for entertainment, every child born now has the ability to see far into the future as well as the past. They arrive here knowing what they are destined to become, but they need you to get there. This is why Allah God gave them mothers, to get them to their destination and in the process to love them as much as He does. This does not lessen the critical importance of fathers, but mother is the first teacher. The children born today appear to be rebellious, just as we appeared rebellious to our parents. But their music, their dress code, their way of doing things is an expression of a complete dissatisfaction. Therefore, the desire is for complete change. They know that this world cannot remain the way it is. And though they are not religious, they are very spiritual. Their complete rejection of a world which has rejected God is manifesting in violence only because they don't know how to handle their power. Technology has removed the walls around the local neighborhood. The youth are linked by the internet and its social networks. Their way of responding to music and literature is different. They are the bridge between a racist, sexist, materialistic world which fights over arbitrary borders and a world where no borders exist. Everything about them is a radical departure from the status quo, a way of breaking free from narrow minded thinking. Of course, we have something to do with this. All of us are links in a chain, and you cannot discount that this revolutionary influence goes back for decades. The civil rights movement of the 50s, the Black Power movements of the turbulent 60s, and the anti war sentiment of the flower children into the early 70s. The plan originated with God, peace, love, and understanding. The action was carried out by youth, primarily college students. In an atmosphere largely produced by the revolutionary teachings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, the children of the 50s and 60s challenged the doctrines of racism that ruled America. Prior to his leadership, we were called ourselves Negroes. He referred to us as Black people. The Black struggle, in turn, inspired the women's movement and the environmental movement. That same generation developed the personal computer, linking the individual to the globe. The current young generations born in the 80s and 90s have been referred to by writers as Generation X and Generation Y, using mathematical symbols because they defy definition. In music, they have forged a new classification and have taken more control over their finances and management than any previous generation, though they are not yet free. Now they are becoming parents. The millennium babies now have several generations of freedom fighters behind them, and even more significantly, they are coming in the fullness of time. Allah God has imprinted their spirit with the courage to demand freedom and equality. Okay, and so that is chapter 9, children, power, the power base of the Black woman. That is the end of it. Now we're going to slide right on into the commentary for this particular chapter. If you were not with us for the readings of chapters 1 through 8, go ahead and go to my YouTube. You can do so by clicking the link in my bio, scroll all the way down to the bottom, click the YouTube link, and you will see the videos from chapter 1 through 9 in a playlist. 1 through 8 in a playlist. Um, and share this live with 2 people if you like what you heard so that they can jump in on the commentary piece while we're overlooking this chapter. And don't forget to support your sis. Cash App in the comments. So one, they are our power base. That was such a powerful opening to me. And if I can be honest, this chapter is really speaking to me because I'm one of those overbearing, extra protective parents. In my mind, it's protective. But as I'm reading this chapter, I'm learning that it's very destructive. But I'm one of those parents that is very overprotective. Like if you doing too much or you seemingly are about to hurt yourself or anything like that, I might overreact a little bit. I might tell you to stop. You know what I mean? Like I'm one of those parents. And it wasn't until I read this chapter that might not be the best way to go about it. I've been getting a little bit better since I was sick the past month and a half because I just didn't have the energy. I just didn't have the energy to be all up on them in that way, which has truly been a blessing in disguise because it's taught me really the benefit and the beauty of conserving energy. And it's also taught me that a lot of the things that we spend our energy on is not really beneficial for us. And so that they are your power base, it completely changes almost uh the thought behind having children, right? Because the truth of the matter is, I still believe that having children is a different level of difficulty, right? Because the way that you move and the way that you interact, the way that you schedule, everything that you do is shifted because you have these humans that you are now taking, um, that you are now being held responsible for. But at the same place, at the same time, this is saying this is our power base. Like this is almost like a little cheat code, you know? Um, Peace, peace. Thank you for tuning in. Let me scroll up because I did see some things. Assalamu alaikum. I mean, wa alaikum salam, Sister Shantae. Um, and so it's almost like a little cheat code. And then the next thing it was saying is that by motherhood, I don't mean having babies. I mean teaching and nurturing divine beings. So a lot of the times we think that motherhood is exclusive to to just having children, right? And this is part of the reason why I always say that your story is important, and that even if you don't like going live, some people are scared to be on camera. Look at me, I'm live right now and I'm not even on camera because I still got this weight loss, bobblehead look going on. One day I will come back on camera, but that's why I am very passionate about making sure that people tell their stories and share it with the masses, because it's not just about the things that we go through has a little bit to do with us, but it has more to do with the people's lives that we can help change by telling them how we got through it. Some people are stuck in situations because you haven't given them the blueprint to get out of it, because you're too scared to share with people your story out of fear of judgment by people that don't matter in the grand scheme of things, right? Because your story is a custom made blueprint for somebody that's exactly like you, that's trapped in a place that they never thought that they would be and don't know how to get out of. But because we allow the fear of people that are not assigned to our goals and our destiny, we allow those views from those people to stop us, when in actuality, in allowing them to stop us, we will banish people to hell and lock them in hell, because we won't give them the key that we had to forge on our own. And so that's what, and it's the way that she said it, that it's not about just being a mother to children, it's about being a mother and teaching and nurturing divine beings. Like, a lot of us are really out here trying to figure this out, right? A lot of us are trying to be out here and figure it out, right? And it had it not be so, I'll say it like this. A lot of you guys know who Brother Ben X is, right? But and all of us know who the minister is. But there are some people that can't identify with the minister. Just like there are some people that can't identify with the messenger. But it takes people like Brother Ben X, Reza Islam, to share their stories, not only share their stories, but share their journey, which allows people to identify with them. And then when they give the praise to Allah God and tell them my teacher is X, Y, and Z, then that draws the connection. There are some people out there right now that see the minister like I did, right? Because before I joined the nation, anything that was about the minister, anything that was about the Nation of Islam, I automatically cut it off. I didn't even want to hear nothing. That's how blind, deaf, and dumb I was. I immediately cut off my brain. I immediately cut off my ears, and I didn't want to hear nothing about it because I had already let the thoughts and opinions of others infiltrate my mind and my being. So if you mention the minister's name, I would automatically cut it off, right? But because my husband was the example of the teachings of the Nation of Islam, I was more open to receiving and researching to see what made him so grounded, what made him so knowledgeable, what made him so confident, right? And so sometimes it takes us to be the teachers of other divine beings for them to be able to come in and see exactly who they are and whose they are. And so I do challenge those that are in the comments that if you're scared to share your story, please stop banishing people to hell because of your fear. Literally, there are people that are on the brink of death because they haven't heard your story yet to know that they're not alone. They haven't heard your story yet to know that there's a way out. They haven't heard your story enough yet to know that there is hope if they just do the actions of it. And so I see, wow, that was me. Teach so true. Praise be to Allah. Yes, wow, look at that. Yes, ma'am. And so going into the next point. So don't think that just because you don't have no any children that you are not responsible for nurturing, teaching, and birthing the other divine buildings beings that are put on this earth to do more and do better, right? Because had it not been for some people were brought to the nation from other leaders, right? And had it not been for those leaders accepting the call on their life and sharing their stories, we would be without a lot of our leaders, because some of us can only identify with people that we can readily see and be able to understand, right? So let's go on. But in exchange for a little money, which barely meets your requirements, you have given up the very base of your power. Now, I want to say this, right? Because I did a podcast with Sister Destiny not too long ago, and I had to correct myself because I said there was a point in that podcast where I said, some of our children, some of our husbands love us enough to where we're, we could stay at home with our children. And so I had to correct myself because I didn't want anyone to feel as though that because you're not able to stay at home with your children, your husband doesn't love you. But this is, I want to sit here, right? A lot of us will neglect building a business and go working for somebody else. Um, and end up neglecting our children in the process. We have a lot of gifts, we have a lot of talents, and instead of doing the work to figure out how to monetize and how to grow that into a business and a brand, we'd rather diminish our creative ability and go work for somebody that's not even paying us enough to live anyway, right? And then we'll stay on that job and not think of a plan to get out of it so that we can be home and take care of our children. When I got pregnant with my son, I told my husband I didn't want to work anymore. I was working at a casino. It was a bunch of smoking. It was a bunch of ignorant people in there. It was just a constant state of stress being working in the casino environment. And praise be to Allah, He allowed me the opportunity. Allah is the best. I so needed this. Praise be to Allah, ma'am. I'm glad that, and I hope that you get what you were here to receive. Um, and praise be to Allah that we were in a position to where He said, okay, well, you can, put in your notice. That day, He told me to put in my notice. And I don't even think I finished 2 weeks after that. But I could not imagine, even though it's very difficult being a mom of 4 children, being a wife, staying at home, never really having as much time as I would like for myself. I could not imagine leaving the care of my children to anyone else, with anyone else. And yes, I'm improving myself every single day. There's a lot of things that I could do better, but still to this day, there are some people that can never have access to my children. Not because I don't love them, but because I know that what you will knowingly or unknowingly expose them to is not something that I want them to see, or not something that I want them to experience until we have given them the tools to be able to handle that. And even if we have given them the tools to be able to handle that, I will not allow their minds to be what is it called, to be manipulated. Some people just allow certain things from their children. So if I see that, no, my children cannot be around your children. And that's me being protective. Some people may think I'm being overprotective, but I am the one that will have to deal with the consequences of you allowing certain things around them and they pick it up, which is an experience that I had in the past. My children were around some other children, and I'm the one still to this day that are dealing with the difficulties that came with them being around other children and them picking up other people's habits. And so I say that to say, if it's possible, and if you can, if you are able, then we should be definitely be at home with our children, especially during a time where people are dragging people's children, choking them out, sexually abusing them, all kind of stuff. Can you imagine the amount of stress that we go through if we're outside of the home, away from our children? We're not even able to function right because all we're thinking about is the well-being of our children. So I would strongly consider, sis, come on, get with yourself, get with your inner God, and figure out another way to still be able to make an income, but also be with your children. This quarantine, in my opinion, was the best thing to happen to some of us parents, because we got to spend more time with our children and building up that bond that was previously filled with, misdirections at school and, after school programs and then dinner and bed. And we never got to spend that time with them. I definitely did that for my children. They could not go around certain family members. Yes, ma'am. And it's okay. And don't let nobody else make you believe that it's not okay that you are protecting your children in that way. Because they will try to shame you. They will try to say, we are family this. They will try to say, we are friends. They will try to say all this kind of stuff. But it's like, you were not assigned to them. I was. So it's my responsibility. Hey, Verena, thank you for tuning in. So it's my responsibility to protect them, not you. Okay, next. The door to their subconscious mind is already open. It's so crazy. Like, as mothers, we know our children, some of the things that they do, it just be like, oh my God, why? Like, we can't even fathom why they would even think to do that. That is my son, 100%. He just be doing stuff sometimes, and I just be looking like, my God, why? The other day, he lit a match on our bed, right? He lit a match on our bed, and happened to look up at him because I heard the ching. Happened to look up at him, and he literally placed the lit match on our bed, and I'm like, "No, pick that up." And so me panicking, of course, I'm looking at my husband. He looking at me. I'm like, "What do I do?" He was like, "Blow it out." And I was like, it was only by the grace of Allah that bed did not go up in flames with my baby in it, because he legit lit the match and set it on the bed. And I just cannot fathom, like, what would make you want to do such a thing? But as it says here, the door to their subconscious mind is already open. So a lot of times, in the name of quote unquote protecting them, we're really keeping them from exploring and figuring out what it is that they were meant to do. He trying to burn the bed up. Man, I'm telling you, I don't know what was going on, but he sure did. They are born with the impulse to probe their inner self. That's why they always doing things, because they're trying to figure out what they like, what they enjoy. And the minister said that we are naturally born to, I forgot, I don't want to say the wrong words, but he said, what lecture did he say this in? DM me and I'll give you the lecture. I forgot what lecture it was, but he said that naturally, as children, we are born to be not disobedient, right? And we are born to, I don't think disobedient was the word, but basically we are born to be out of pocket as children, okay? And it's our parents' responsibility to guide that and direct the children into the right way. And so we have to figure out ways to, of course, discipline them and of course structure them, but also allow them the creative ability to the creative freedom to be able to figure out what it is that they want. Let a child be a child, Jason. It's hard. It's easy for men because they don't even really be caring. They hearing don't never work. Children be talking to them, sitting right next to them, and they daddy don't hear nothing. But us women, we hear every single thing, and everything could be a little sign of harm, especially when it get quiet. So that's what I'm learning to do. Let children be children, and working on my ability to guide them effectively without stunting their creative growth. Um, and then she goes into say, we must teach and learn from our children. And I'm gonna have to stop right here because I have a follow-up doctor appointment. These people finna tell me if something else is wrong with me. So I'm gonna stop right here after I make this point so I can get ready for my sister to come pick me up and take me to the doctor's office. But she said we must teach and learn from our children. Um, it is a mistake and an exercise in futility to try and force our way of thinking on them, to limit their vision with our narrow perspective of what is possible and what is not. Um, so I think that is so important, because how many times have in our interaction and in our conversation with our children, we learn something either about them or about ourselves or about life. And it's like, God dang, you like 3 years old. You are like 3 years old. And so we have to be more, I'm saying we, as in, like, I'm talking to myself, we have to be more conscious of spending more time with our children, because they are literally the cheat code. And so I think what I'll do is, because there's still like a page and a half and some change, 2 pages and a half that I really want to go through and digest. So what I would do is, I think I will come on later and we will finish the commentary part for this particular chapter. But I gotta get dressed because I don't want to miss my appointment. I thank you all for tapping in with your sister. Chapters 1 through 8 can be found on my YouTube, Sister Victoria X. You can click the link in my bio, scroll down, click the YouTube icon, and it will take you directly to my YouTube, where you will see chapters 1 through 8. I thank you all. Share this, share this, share this when I post it, and when I post it, and make sure you leave in the comments something that you got from this read, something that you thought was beneficial. Yes, do that, because I can't text my thoughts fast enough. um yeah, drop it in the comments when I post it. Support your sister. Cash App $ Sister Victoria X. And I will see you, inshallah, I will see you all later, because Allah put something else on my heart to share with you all, but I want to definitely finish this chapter. You enjoy your day, and may Allah bless you with peace and blessings for the rest of the day. Peace.